questions. Fuzzy Seal, and of course, our Eye in the Sky line. This is going to be a good evening. What are you excited to see tonight, Seal?
And I'm really looking forward to this. You know, obviously this is the Awesome Premier League Lobby 1, so a lot of the best teams, the highest ratings from this particular league are here in this game from the NA side. So already a lot of familiar names. E United in the middle of your screen right now. That's the #1 seeded team right now, sitting at, I think it was 65 global points. They're heading off east all in their own, but also I can just be very, very confident in these guys and know they'll put on a good fight, and that's a good show for us today.
Absolutely. It's always going to be a good show, and that's what we like to see. So this is obviously just North America. You can see
oh my
time
God.
making sure he pops out some tires. Now, I've tried this. I went out to my driveway last week and tried to punch out my tires. It does not work, so don't try it unless you guys unbox those cool gloves with the points on top of them. That said, it's a great strategy. If you know you're dropping inside of a get cars and move location, he probably knows there was a team nearby. Pop those tires and lessen their transition as they kind of chase you across the map. So kind of cool. Pachinki, one team there. Something I like to see. Remember when the days when Pachinki was populated by so many people? I feel like both in the pro scene and the pub scene, Pachinki is sort of lost favor.
Yeah, well, I'm really liking what I'm seeing right now because the plane did fly directly for Pachinki, but there would be some games where teams just wouldn't even drop anywhere on the flight plan. So I feel like right now we're seeing a very healthy balance of some teams identifying when they're able to drop in that flight plan and other ones saying, okay, we're just going to drop far away from it and just do what we normally do. So these teams that are dropping in the middle, for example, right here, Squad 6, those guys are dual. I think it is very, very intelligent for them to be identifying that this is safe for them to do, is completely uncontested, and a city's worth of loot in the middle of the map, which will probably be in the next zone. Very, very strong early game for them.
Yep, absolutely. So as we look across the map, you can see teams pretty comfortably spread out. We got Zentrix, Coco, and Vape doing the farm spread. They may crash into Vex there. That'll be pretty interesting to see if Cloud9 butts up against them on the farm location. Frex and Zentrix kind of, I think, dancing around each other. I expect both of them will probably move each west into the next complex. So if they continue to trash loot, there's a chance they meet if they both go towards the west complex. We'll see where Frex heads to right now, because that could be pretty tough. We talk a lot about the value of 4 players going into those final circles. What is the difference, Seal, between having a 4-man squad and a 3-man squad when you talk about sort of circle 4 and beyond?
Well, the big thing that a 4-man team allows you to do is it allows you to play a little bit more aggressively. So, for example, if you have a 3-man squad and you get ambushed specifically by a 4-man, all of a sudden you have one guy who's at low HP, needs to heal at least, so then you're down to a 2v4. Whereas if you have a 4-man team, 3 guns shooting outward is still pretty good overall. Also, that that compounds further on once you get down to 2, and then later on 1, usually to the point where entire strategies are cut off at 2 and 1. But as a 3-man, it gets a little bit risky because you still have enough people to reasonably expect to take terrain. But also, like I said, if you just have a bad start to a fight, it can easily snowball out of control.
Absolutely. So we've got Solid and Chappie rolling together. Chappie, an interesting situation. We saw him playing a little bit with, I think it was Corn Shuckers. Was it Corn Shuckers on Monday? Looks like he's back with his old boys today. So Chappie playing a little bit of a mercenary role in the pro scene right now. I'm curious to see sort of what ends up happening there. I do know Corn Shuckers is sort of bouncing back from a Zampa trade recently, who, by the way, Zampa Tempo Storm is really working well, in my opinion. Have you had a chance to watch them play with Zampa on the team?
Yeah, I think I watched one of the another organization's game with him, and Tempo Storm in general, since that mix-up in a lineup has been, they've been playing pretty well.
Yeah, it was like a nice fresh shot to the arm, and it seems like they're doing very, very well. Speaking of a shot to the arm, care package coming in, M249, one of my favorite gifts to get in a care package.
I have not seen one of these in so long. I felt like for so long we were just getting M24s. Myself and Skyline were memeing about it for a little bit, but now we got some diversity, and one of the best guns, in my opinion, Toffee's in the game. If you're standing up, it'll be a bit of a hassle to fire, but once you crouched, oh my goodness, that gun is a monster.
Absolutely. It's also, honestly, when you talk about final pushes, it's one of the only guns that I feel comfortable going into like a 4v1 at the end of a match with. Another crate. So we do have the M24 that you brought up. That's been a very popular gun lately. Obviously, we talked about it. For those of you who if you don't spend tons of time chasing crates, the M24 less powerful than the AWM, but infinite ammo in context of it's a 7.62 gun. So a lot of players prefer that. It is louder and a lot more aggressive. So when someone shoots an M24, you know there's an M24 being fired somewhere nearby.
Yeah, it's not that it's bad. It's just that it's just kind of boring. You know, it's like an upgrade from the current day. There's no real reason to not take it, but it doesn't do anything insane like an AWM or a lot of the other crate guns. You know, we do see United Tony V moving past Pachinki at the moment, but he'll probably be pretty worried to see that in the center of our white zone, by the way, favoring the west side, Totality is already essentially geared up in literally every single combo they could possibly get. There's one at the base of Everest that is still empty, but Totality mostly trolling around the center, just making sure they've gobbled up every bit of loot and are currently deciding where they want to find their home for the next few circles.
So as we talk about that, we'll take a look at Totality here at Gatka. They're doing a spread. We see two kinds of loot, right? We get the spread loot. We actually have a 2-2 loot, and then we have full squad looting. What is the reward versus risk of doing what Totality is doing here? Is it something that, you know, is generally pretty safe? Why do teams choose to spread at this level?
Well, usually at this point, they are doing a little bit of scouting, but mostly just making sure that all their characters, all their other players, if they're missing any loot, just get what they need. So if you do some split looting early on, then obviously you have the risk of running into other split looters or other full squads. That'll essentially just lead into your split looter's death. That's really risky. But at this point, now that they are now that they're at this stage in the game, it gets a little bit more risky because there are teams that are looking for places in the middle of the zone that might run into the looters. Also, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, Huen and Vex are going to go ahead and just knock over. They go ahead and get the kill, then steal the bike or move it around maybe for cover as a little insult to injury, and that's Pistola time. Ooh, Pistola time, I guess, translate directly into translate to EST and then to Central. So
I don't even want the bike.
Death time. I think it's death time. So Pistola time equals death time when it comes to the Gatka Field's time zone. Nobody wants the bike. It's the third-person bike. All right? It's the risk-reward one. You don't love to drive it, but you do if you have to. Very hard to control. Meanwhile, we do see some shots coming out. Frolicker taking shots at Smurf and the crew as they go by, and not able to put too much damage on this. So he's going to come up over the hill, try to take his SKS. These are the hope and prayer shots, right? You open up with your AR, get your 30 out, and then switch to the sniper rifle and pray for a headshot.
Ooh. A couple more solos dying in new Totality. I think someone came across the wrong squad. Looks like they will be all congregating in that little compound at the southern base of Everest.
It's a great spot.
Quite a few teams, though, are still away from the center of this zone, Toppies, and that means that these players that are taking combos a little bit closer to the edge, they don't really know yet that there are still places that you can go to, which is kind of surprising. At this point in the shrink, you expect a lot of these places to be taken by now.
Yeah, Frolicker, by the way, just put a little bit of damage there on, it looks like Vexel and Whim, who were trying to cross over Gatka Fields. They took a shot and lost control of their car, but managed to regain it, and now Frolicker will tuck himself right back into the Wizard Tower. A lot of people don't like Wizard Towers in terms of holding area. Why is it that this particular tower that Frex is in is so popular? I feel like
it just covers so much terrain. There's so much terrain you can see from here, and because of how open it is, and because it's on the side of a hill, it is very, very difficult to push besides one exact direction. And that direction, there's no reason to be there. It's a big forest. It's in a pretty bad hill. There's very few reasons besides in the late game for anyone to actually maneuver through that area. So it's essentially just free pressure that you can put out across that terrain. That being said, we were seeing those two guys going for a 2-2 split. So only two players holding that Wizard Tower and two more players holding a compound further west will allow them to have a fallback point in case that area is left in the zone for later in the game.
Now, speaking of places that are fun to hold, Nova pulling up here on the cube just made me doing a bit of a rally as they drive around, do some circles. Yeah, somebody's shooting at them. So Land Doom attempts some shots, falls back across the bridge. But that cube, another spot. For those of you who maybe aren't as familiar, this is a really popular place among not just the pro meta, but the meta in general. Good loot for your secondary scouting. So, like, if you went somewhere really cool and got great guns and no attachments, you can generally find what you need here. And it's a huge point of transition for most of the teams on the map. If that circle favors north, the guys in Nova have an amazing spot to hide out.
Absolutely. Looking like Nerf Me Please is going to be a scout position for the rest of his team. Actually holding across the bridge on his own. I haven't really seen this before. Hopefully Nova knows what Nerf Me knows what he's doing. The rest of his team is not going to be able to back up if he gets into a fight. But at this stage in the game, it would be quite low chances that happen. Actually, his team now following across there, ditching that position, just pretty much going all in on the south side being in the next zone.
Well, I feel like they feel pretty comfortable they can get back to it should they get that sort of crazy 10% chance of it still being in the circle. Ooh. That's it. We'll jump over to Chappie. We know Chappie. We love Chappie. Chappie very aggressive. So Chappie sees a box. Chappie says, I get box. He's going to go straight at it. See if he can't pick up one of his favorite sniper
Another
rifles
one.
Here. Be another M249, and he is going to lead it.
Chappie! Oh my god. Someone's going to take this, right?
A lot of the pro players don't like the gun necessarily. the accuracy, if compared to say an M4 that's completely kitted out, remember, these guys aren't like me. I need 10 to 15 bullets to kill somebody often. You know, they need 3 maybe. So sometimes an M4 with an extended mag can be just as powerful as an M249.
That's fair. And like I said before, by being very ineffective while you're standing, that is a pretty bad thing in these comp matches. When you can't use your gun half the time, and when you do use it at those times, it's just has high recoil. Very rough. Looking like Nova's getting spied here by iMossy here in this compound, though.
Yep, so Mossy's going to scout them out, looking like he wants to get a little bit of a pick there. Nova, they've got plenty of space to navigate. They got the whole backside of Everest. I don't think there's anybody actually behind them in terms of real estate right now. So they're going to do the smart thing. Mossy sent out some warning shots, and look at that. All 4 arrows turn around, face the other way, just say, up, back.
Totality actually also going for a 2-2 split with 2 of them holding this compound on the south side of the mountain, another one further east. They will be able to get a good amount of control here. Hopefully that they don't get pushed too hard. 2-2 splitting and 2-2 holding rather is very good when you're trying to control space, but when you're expecting a 4-man push, that's when it gets very dangerous. That's when you really want to start consolidating your players.
Now, there is a value to the idea that at this stage of the game, if someone's coming into that compound, it's a pure crash. 2 players inside of those buildings, when they're in separate buildings, can generally hold a crash team for about 40 seconds while the crash team sort of preps for a push. And if you are doing a 2 split in less than 100 meters, the potential for a flank is very, very high. So I get why they do that, but like you said, huge risk involved with that, much like pulling into these orange houses in the middle of the open. Charlie does park. They'll be able to take a couple of shots over here as Solid and his crew as they make a long transition. So they're going to get hit from 2 angles. Solid, Chappie, and the rest of the crew going. Chappie taking a shot. Solid right behind him. That said, though, they got 4 cars, so chances to kill the entire team very low. Some might get picked off. Chappie has some wild driving, but he finally makes it into the compound. Solid goes around the opposite. I like that. They want to test out, see if he fires, and then Freck stops on the uphill to make sure that there's at least one person safe in case there was a team inside of that compound.
Good planning, good pathing, but only 3 players up and a skull in the crossbow in northeast. I think that something happened that we didn't quite get to see. Looks like they drove into Squad 7, those guys on the Pecadores. They probably had a good idea of what was going on, but ooh, looking at this, they're getting shot from their south and their northwest here.
Yeah. And that was that was some pretty close fire.
No!
There you go. It's D-Master just clipping them as they stand up. Nice work. Barely has vision, but they don't know that. They know that there's explosions around them or bullet drops, so they're going to stand up and try to relocate. And when they do that, D-Master has been really clean with the pickoff shots.
Oh man, there's 2 squads that can see this position. It's so bad. D-Master just being one of the many rifles that are trained looking over in that direction. Might have been a little bit too early to move, but if these guys, if Squad 16 can really actually regroup and reconsolidate from this, they could be in a good spot, but looking at this, they're just running away from their position. There is no hope for that to be actually a place I can hold.
Yeah, you may have heard of Homestar running this as Microstar Hider, as all he can really do is sort of tuck himself in there, try to heal up. He lost his helmet already. He's cut on 2 sides. They're surrounded, so he's taking fire from the back, but also trying to fight Totality in front of him.
Yeah, Smithy's down right here. Taro not showing any signs of going for the revive. This was a very aggressive play from a group that went for a 2-2 split. Smithy might be able to get revived if he falls back far enough, but look at that Microstar going around for a flank. Might be able to finish off that down.
So we'll see if they get in there. Chappie, meanwhile, up on the hill, you can see them fighting out of the radio tower position, taking shots down towards Wizwiki and his crew, who are very comfortable along the coastline. You know, we got Envious spread out through the middle of the circle. He's going for a very bold res, and it might actually work out. The smokes have finally deployed, so he is going to get him up just in the nick of time. I think that was about 6 HP before he got that res off, but he's going to do it. They're going to run in. Meanwhile, the rest of the 16's trying to make the wraparound happen, but the smoke was just clutch.
Yeah, they're getting shot from the southwest and their south. They're trying to get to Gatka, but it looks like there's not quite enough cover for them to do that for free. And while other squads transitioning around this, they hear the shots, they realize that, hey, other people are getting shot at. Let's take this time, let's take this opportunity to move on in. Looks like they will be able to get to Gatka, but looking at this transition might not be going well.
Mr. Blown Apart literally tries to live up to his namesake as Ox sees him, goes for the lean to finish the job. Blown Apart knocked out of his car. He was by himself, so he'll just be left for dead. The rest of his team may have stopped to fire back. There it is. It looks like Ben Long is out of his car. He finally parked. He's going to try to move into a flanking position on the hill. But they are just outnumbered right now, and they're in a really bad spot.
Yeah, and this is Render. They're not exactly known for their team fighting ability. They're a lot better at getting out of the situation and surviving as solos or duos or just being in really, really smart spots. But when the bullets start flying, that's when Render is probably at their weakest. Dash does make it to this compound alongside one of his other teammates coming in from the east side, but their 4th player to the south in those fields and whatever his name is currently not able to assist Blown Apart or link up with his teammates.
Yeah, so Adam Dids will sort of watch, but have to probably mount up and get out of there. Some free loot for Ox. He is just going to smoke down before he loots. Good idea. Knowing there's probably somebody down trying to flank him. And you know what they got? They got the complex, but at what cost? If you're, I mean, well, they got the circle too. So at least they can now hunker down in there and chase off everyone who tries to come nearby.
This is a pretty ugly circles, Toffees. A lot of teams were expecting Gatka itself to be in. It is not anymore. This crate dropping near a couple of players has an AUG and a competent. I'm not sure if it's going to get used right now. A lot of teams like Nova, for example, definitely a lot more interested in the positioning that they'll be fighting for.
MK14. So two okay crates, decent guns earlier in the game. Right now, is it worth stopping? Probably not. Big rotation coming out from Envious. We see Twitch WizWiki pushing in on MLGB. Biggie's parked there all by himself. Now Venerated driving with his team around the transitional period. Yeah. So they took shots from the guys there. MLGB Biggie is on the outside of the wall. He's got a 3-person bike and his own hopes and dreams. And I think he's probably just going to try to get out of there.
Oh man, Envy actually driving right into Render and alongside Biggie. He's going to be getting on out of here. Envy just cannot find a place to park their car. There's that compound to the south that is currently unoccupied, but Venerate does not know that it's just driving west, looking like we're going to get a water boy here pretty soon.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do at this stage. This side of the map, great place to fight if you get there early. Otherwise, not a ton of cover. So Venerated smoking already. Head straight out to join Caden. Shots coming from the distance. He's already got the black smoke going.
Doesn't want to. You can tell he doesn't want to.
He wants to avoid it. He doesn't want everybody to watch him swim. Plus, it's boring to swim for the next 10 minutes. But he sets up a little fortress. The problem is he's got someone coming in from behind. Meanwhile, Nar does get the car, blows it up, and he'll get himself a nice kill as he falls back to home base.
You don't see the DP-20 that often, but that is exactly what it's good at. It's sort of poor man's car shredder right there. Looks like MLGB in one of the better spots right now, one of the only compounds that are in a pretty good spot, but more players trying to use the low ground of 4 by the coast as cover. But ooh, Vexel killing himself with a car. What happened there?
Flipped it over, just took too much damage. He flew up, hit one of those little pops on this side. This road notorious for those little sort of ridges that'll just pop you up if you're boosting when you hit it. And he did that. Flipped it over. He took too much damage and fell right out of the car. So he's got to be careful there. Now we got Coco trying to find a place to call home as they're going to head right to the water as well. We have a couple of mermaid squads all establishing their dominance over certain coral reefs. So just like the wildlife they're taking after, they'll probably sit here and swim around, maybe chat for a little while waiting for the circle to close.
He almost drove into that burning Dossie, and that probably would have blown everyone up involved, so good job swerving to miss that. Meanwhile, these Gaka fields are going to get really bloody soon, as a lot of players making the exact same transition here. We see Squad 16 in the form of Havoc, and ahead of them, it's the Pecadores. Pecadores in a better spot tactically and closer to the Whites, but I don't think they realize that someone's behind them right now.
They don't. This is beautiful for the Slightmares. He knows the blues behind him, so they don't want to pull the trigger. They have to find that balance between pulling before the guys for Pecadores turn around.
There's so far to go.
Fighting outside the blue, and they've got a long way to go. They have to run with the guns out, because if they see Pecadores turn around, they don't have any other options. They will take that first shot. Peck now knows that they're there, so this could be very bad for them, as Smurf does have a significant advantage, Twin as well. Slightmare's going for the boost here, and then presumably the run.
That might have been the worst possible time for Havoc to start shooting just when that one player gets over the ridge. But look over here. Looks like one has gotten pretty close. Win!
Oh, almost. It tagged him a little bit, so Win takes some serious damage. Drops back. Him and Smurf both hurting because of the blue tick. Firing bomb from the distance, so they're getting caught by Ether United. Or, I'm sorry, E United is just... This is tough, man. This is a really tough situation to find yourself in.
Yeah, pinch on both sides, out in the blue. Pretty much everyone involved in this is probably going to get pretty lit up at the very least. Looks like Solketh from the boys on Havoc try to go for a northern flank, did not survive that, so they know they gotta fight for this hill, but do they even have the meds to keep doing this?
I don't think so. I think Big K started his heal too late. I don't know if he's going to get it off in time. Meanwhile, though, Nova defending their house. Richie watching the road, sees WC up the hill, wants to take a couple of shots. They'll just keep an eye on him as WC comes slamming into the circle. They're going to find the box. Inside the box is that AUG that we saw fall earlier. The question is it worth the trouble of switching out right now? For them, it is, because they can defend behind them, actually use that box as additional cover and the ridge line once the blue circle closes. So you'll probably see them actually stay there and utilize that landscaping area.
2 men from Render have spotted Nova to their north, just making sure that, hey, we know you're there and we don't like your cars a little bit, but we're not going to use enough ammo to blow it up, so just pretend it has no wheels. Ooh, a nice headshot here from Ben Long here. They have one of the better spots in the zone right now. Very, very centralized. They have a couple players split up in those buildings to try and cover all their angles, but not very safe. Totality coming from the north of the wildcard, though.
Yeah, and Pride going to go ahead and secure that kill. remember, there are a lot of points in Auzom for getting kills, and one of the downsides of so many teams alive, 15 teams at this stage of the game,
No
is
wipes.
kill stealing becomes very, very popular. Because if somebody downs someone and they crawl around the tree, you can steal that kill and it counts for you. So that is something that, you know, a lot of teams make sure that they confirm the kills in the old kill confirm style of play.
I think there's a flank coming in here with Wildcard getting
Oh, nice shot.
the players in the open. Yeah, Totality is getting absolutely shredded here. But oh, God Squad on the right side. That's why this isn't working. Sharp Shot's on the low ground. MLGB throws as well. What is going on here?
So Sharpshot does go down. WC in a good position, has to deal with MLGB. Steezem trying to figure out what's going on as they look over the top of the hill. They got a Totality is knocked to the right, so now it's WC versus MLGB. These are two teams who have been going head-to-head all week in the final circles, in the top fives almost constantly. So good to see them doing it again. Neither one wanting to yield ground on this hill, both looking for flanks and nice plays.
Flank.
I like Steel, though. He slides up on this right here. He sees Pride to his right. Pride is exposed. If he just gets the peak, Steel has to take it. Lean to the right, Steel. Lean to the right.
I think he's waiting for his team to get in position, but as soon as he leans right, you'll see two players that he'll be to light up
There
at least
there
one.
Boom.
Nice.
Easy headshot. Gets Pride knocked down. Thinks about going for the finish. Ducks back under. Switches to the sniper. Aztec
Zone.
inside on the UAZ. Zone is here. They've got to push. They have no options. Up over the hill. MLGB pushing as a team up against Wildcard. Look at that.
Tree.
3 men on a tree.
Oh, no!
Oh, no!
A God
Kobe.
frag.
Oh, what a grenade.
This
Kickstart
is
tossed
so
that
bad.
out. Gets so many kills. He knew they'd be going for that tree. It was an easy play for him. They thought, why is he not shooting at us? And then they found out the hard way. He does get a knock. Does try to play the sneaky snack game. Gets one knock for his trouble. But Wildcard will be able to get everybody back up. They've got a car fortress and a nice little package.
Really good play from Wildcard to secure that against two squads, but now they have to worry about the rest of the zone. Specifically, these two squads, Render and Squad 12, that is shoot to kill, 8 and 12. They're holding the combats that will be gatekeeping them, and they have 30 seconds to get their stuff together and get moving, and not a lot of cover to actually make this transition. They have a very clear objective. Which of the two routes will they take on the way in, though?
So 10 teams in the situation currently. Nova in their house are going to have to move at the same vector as WC, but Nova is having so much fun beach hunting right now. The question is, do they choose to move along the coastline? Because K-Mind, Nop, all these guys are going to start to move towards the shore now that the circle has sort of been pre-established. Zentrix here playing the gatekeeper role as he's the only person up on the sand.
Partial gatekeeper, partial I have the only bit of cover on this beach. I think Nova's trying their best to kill Zentrix. But oh, look at this Wildcard making a move towards Render.
This is what I like about Wildcard. Wildcard's not afraid to go ham. This is what they're going to do. They slide right into the building here. Binlong sees it, jumps out and down, and if they try to make a fast flank, they might find him as Binlong falls back to his partners. Ashek into the house. They've breached it. They've cleared it. The house is now theirs. So we've got two teams splitting a compound, and Wildcard actually has a superior position because they forced everyone back with such a strong push.
Render also still only has two players. Their third player is nowhere to be found. I don't even know where he is, but only Dash and his teammate of Binlong are currently here. And this is, with Wildcard getting all 4 of their members here in that one building, this is not a favorable fight for them.
No. I mean, Wildcard's in a good defensible position. It's a lot harder to nade in here than it is to nade out of there, which you just saw there as we saw passing nades in the night. Neither of them going full Kobe, but both decent shots and do send a message. The upside of WC's position that I like is when that blue circle closes, they control the entire backside of that rotation. No one's going to push them from behind, so they have control in terms of where they want to go in terms of flanking Bin and Dash. Nova across the road in a pretty good spot as well. Locknarb, not so much. He's sort of playing the aggressive scout role as he takes some shot here at Aiden. Aiden hiding behind the tree, pops up, taking damage, getting very low. Locknarb close. Not going to be able to pull it off as Caden crawls back around to the other side.
Caden was pretty exposed there for a little bit. I'm surprised he didn't get that kill. Level 3 vest definitely saving Caden's bacon right there. He's prone. I think he's in a pretty good spot. Centralized doesn't have to move for a little bit. As long as no one spots him from his south or east, he should be okay here. Looking right here, though, actually, we see Ignite moving in before their compound's even out.
So they are up here on top. These guys are bold, up on top of the hill, taking open fire at everybody. They're confident that no one's going to roll up behind them, and they're in a good shape. They also are now mid-circle with the V-shaped Jeep fort in the middle of it. So they are in a good position. When we talk about situations like this, we say it is now their game to lose because of how well situated they are for the last push.
Yeah, those water boys are going to get decimated. But on this northern side, there's 3 squads that will have to fight each other for a position in. There's very little cover left. Nova on the northwest, 2 squads actually. Render as well as Wildcard in that northern combat, and a third one off to the far right. And look at this. There's so many solos that are still alive. You could just like Nova could just trip over Caden, and Caden easily eliminate 1 or 2 on his own. There's just a lot of little nuisances here that these squads on the north have to deal with to even get to fight Ignite here.
Max Rage 2X not working out for him. Caden playing the gatekeeper role. This is good because right now Envious not in a great position in terms of winning this match because of their numbers. But if Caden can get there and he can pick off a couple of the swimmers, nice shot. Man, nice play there by Kickstart to win out over Dash in an easy spray. Look at that. They immediately go into the full 3-man press, leave 1 behind for safety reasons, roll 3 in. Binlong playing the sneaky beaky, gets knocked on the open, almost gets the second, finishes the kill to be a butthead. And we're going to see Aztec go down. Kickstart finishes Binlong on the return, and they're going to have to breach before they can push.
Their 1 solo is giving them this spot here. But looking at this, Nova actually going in from the west, trying to give Wildcard hell. But these Beach Boys might have something to say about it, as a couple of players of Nova looking southwest. I think 1 squad is actually getting up on the shoreline now.
Yeah. So Nova waits the last second. Now they're going to start to trigger their pull, maybe drive through some of the beach teams or prep themselves out. Caden can still play spoiler here. Penta taking a lot of damage. There he goes. He goes down with a shot to the head. Look at that body lineup on the beach. Remember, being a mermaid almost never pays off. Caden trying to take out the car. Sprays him from behind. He jumps out to spray back, and Caden loses.
Didn't even hit a single shot after got out of that car. Nova pulling this really well, but look at this spot. Lightshow actually being so aggressive, spreading out from this hill. What is Lightshow doing here?
He's just trying to get as many kills as he can. He got there, Caden went down, but he managed to get Caden's killer from behind, caused a lot of trouble, heal himself up. He knows Nova's on the way, and if they're smart, the guys from Ignite will just sort of let him do his work and play the sort of gatekeeper role and let them focus on the other teams. Richie, grenade lands right next to him coming out from Ignite as he crawls forward. It's going to go off and not touch him, but he knows that they know that he is here.
So weird. Both members from Nova and Lightshow taking very aggressive positionings, little 1v3s, but Lightshow losing his very quickly. Definitely regretting that flank, but 2 members from Nova down. It's just up to Nerf Me to get those revives up.
There's still 5 teams, though. We're talking about the 2 because these are the 2 pole position teams at the moment. Nova is hurting. They've got 2 men down, but they may have a chance to get some of these reses off potentially. That said, the opposite side, where that fight was going on earlier with that huge push. Okay, another team has been eliminated, so we see down to 4. Make it 3 as 2 kills come out, one after another for, it looks like Adam.
Oh my goodness, Mortify pushing, getting Nerf Me. I think that means there's only the player that Nerf Me got up, finishing off that kill. Lockenarb getting the revive off into Landoon. Mortify trying to see if he can hold his position, but look at this. Ignite making a full push out of
Kobe gets everybody very low, and the car finishes the job. CeeLo says, if a nade won't do it, I will blow you up to finish. 3 teams left. Jump over to Uncivils and Adam Adam just got 2 teams wiped, by the way. So that's Adam Did's kill 2 other teams a second ago. So he's feeling confident, but he's outside the circle. Has to push in, deal with 3 players from Ignite, and then Nova right smack in the middle playing the hidey hole game. CeeLo Green looking to try to find Richie here underneath the tree, but you know Richie's waiting for his chance to play this one out.
There was frags near Richie earlier, so CeeLo Green knows someone's here, spotting him out, getting him down. Now it's a 3v2. Last boys left on shoot to kill to the far north. Do they have a chance here?
They know exactly where they are. It looks like he's spotting him. He knows that's where they are. Goes for the shot, but he ends up going down. Now, that does mean they probably have time to go for the res. Adam Diz can't push out aggressively. They were working the flank. It's going to cost him a little bit. Adam takes some damage, goes for the firefight, almost ends it again as he goes head-to-head with CeeLo this time.
Doing a really good job of winning these little peak battles. This might give them the opening they need to actually push up into the white.
Again on the spray for CeeLo. CeeLo very low, thinking about going for the res. His last chances now. Looks like they may just leave their partner to die, so make it a 2v2 potentially. I think that's what it's going to be. 4 alive, 2 and 2. Adam's low. They're expecting him to heal, but he's making a hard push. Wants to catch Mortify off guard. He knows where CeeLo is. Not sure on Mortify. Drops down. He's going to look for the peak pop. Mortify goes for the look. Doing a little bit of hop checking. Is it going to work? He dives down as well, goes for the hill. CeeLo chooses the top off. All of them are almost in the circle. The only one not in right now is Uncivils.
Yeah, he's playing back, providing Overwatch, but looking at this, with Adamins up here on the hill, they just have to wait and just let him take that side of the hill, whereas Uncivil's not in the white yet, and